Hey guys, this is John out at River to Timber Outdoors. We're going on the spring bear hunt here pretty soon. Kevin and AJ already did their gear dump. This is mine so far. On this hunt, I'm going to bring my 300 Win Mag by Weatherby, and then some reloads that I've done. Got that all settled and zeroed in. Right now it's just at 100 yards, but here in a little while, Kevin and I are going to go check out our rifles and go shoot out to a little bit of distance. The only thing I would definitely recommend for whatever rifle you are shooting, doesn't matter what it is, what scope, I definitely recommend an anti-cant lever or level here. I got that, and then also with that I do recommend having some sort of bipod that does tilt a little bit. Especially when you're out in the mountains and you're running in, rough terrain, nothing's flat, nothing's level, so this one does lock to whatever I need it to, and then they obviously do extend, so that is one thing I do recommend for that, but for a bear it really doesn't matter. 270, 300, 30-06, anything will really do the job. It's just whatever you're comfortable with and how much you've used it, and pretty much just whatever you've had your time with. And but yeah, anyway, this is what we're bringing on the hunt. I know Kevin's got his. I don't think he showed you guys, but this is what I'm taking. And then the one thing that does come with me on every hunt is a bino harness. This is a marsupial gear, and then in here I do got my Vortex Diamondback 12x50s. So these are only gonna be on this hunt. I do have a 10x42s that I run most of the time, but these I'm gonna take on this hunt just because of the longer distance. And then in here we got just a little cleaning pin for the binos, and one thing that's always on my bino harness is obviously some wind checker. This hunt I'm not going to have my my cow calls or anything for what I would normally take for elk season, but and then your other essential is going to be your rangefinder. This one I think is just the I'm not sure which one this one is, but this is just 1,000-yard range finder. Nothing special. I usually just use this one for my bow too, so that's going to be here. And then my pistol holster. I just like to keep it on my bino harness. I've had it on my pack for the last couple of years in the past, and then depending on what you're doing, running through rough terrain, I mean, I don't like having to check on it all the time. I'd rather just have it on my chest where I know where it's at. But yeah, that's always going to be an essential for everything. And one other thing that is never going to change between the bino harness is going to be my boots. Kevin and I are both running the Guide GTX by Crispy. I've had these boots for a couple years. They've done amazing. They don't leak. Right out of the box you can wear them. I've never had any problems with trying to break them in. A lot of people, depending on the soles, I think, and depending on everybody's feet, I think it would be a good idea to break them in before you do actually go on a backcountry trip. But for me, these soles have been fine. They're not too stiff, but if you've never had Crispies before, one thing is the toe's a little bit different, so maybe if you walk on it, might throw you off for a little bit if that's your first boot, but yeah, no, they're amazing. I wouldn't go away from them. So that's going to be something that's always going to be on every trip, and another thing that's going to be on every trip no matter what season it is going to be a pair of gaiters. These are just the Kuiu Yukons. I've had a lot of good reasons to have these. I've ripped pairs of pants, and I mean I have ripped a pair of gaiters, but for me, these are probably the best ones that I've noticed so far between waterproofing and toughness. These are just, I mean, they're just a lifesaver. Why spend I mean, if you can spend $100 on a pair of gaiters and save a $300 pair of pants, might as well, especially if, you know. Anyway, yeah, I mean, these are awesome. I like them a lot. I've never had any problems with my boots getting wet in a creek, especially up to the very tops of these. I mean, you can afford them, get them. But anyway, another thing that's going to be on my trip is going to be the Sitka Puffy. This is really only going to just be while we're out glassing, and probably late at night when we're getting ready to go to bed. I will sleep in them, just because I'd rather be a little bit too hot than too cold, but that's just my personal preference, just by sitting still anyway. One thing I do wear all the time, even if it is during the summertime, say like you know, early elk season, bow season, I usually wear just a normal short sleeve shirt, but I only wear this this Kelvin Light hoodie. It's quarter zip, and that's just because having a heavier rain jacket, I sweat too much, and I'd rather have just something just to keep me just a little bit warmer and have a little bit more breathability. But that's what I usually wear this and take this everywhere with me. That goes everywhere with me no matter what. I absolutely love it. It's just a little bit thicker than this long sleeve here, which I'm going to be taking. So I'll take one long sleeve and then this Calvin Light hoodie. And that's pretty much all I'm going to take and wear most of the time, especially for hiking. So this will stay in the bag. These I'll be wearing. And then for me, it's easier just to take off a small little hoodie and put it in my backpack and shed a little bit of heat off. And so, like this jacket here, I am going to take this, but it's probably never even going to come out of my backpack, just because this is the heavier duty rain jacket from them. You know, I've only ran into a couple little instances where I've really needed it. Other than that, I can't hike in it just because I sweat a little bit too much, but I'd rather have this and not need it than need it and not have it. You know, we're gonna, if it comes down to it, we're gonna throw up our tent and, you know, sit in the tent for a heavy downpour. But you know, if that's not the case, I'll just pull this out of my pack and maybe shed off like the Kelvin Light hoodie and try to you know, get a little bit more breathability out of it. But that'll be in my pack no matter what, and then I'll wear the rest of it except for the puffy. The pants are going to be the same deal with every hunt too. These are just the mountain pants. I've liked these so far for every season, no matter if it's for, you know, late August, or not late August, but late October for, say, like blacktail around here, or even, you know, bow season for elk. I mean, they're nice in the middle between how thick they are, how moisture wicking they are, and I don't like a thicker pant, but these are just right in the middle. So I've stayed pretty warm in them between, you know, snowy season and blacktail. But these do have the pockets for the knee pads. I do have some pretty rough knees, so that does help me there, especially when you're gutting an animal out and you're on your knees most of the time or something. But yeah, I like these. These are a must for me. I've never been wet with them, but for what I've noticed, if they do get soaked, I mean, you don't get wet internally, like through whatever you're wearing between, underneath, but they do dry out really quick. So I do like that. Another thing that's going to stay in my pack is going to be the Black Ovis puffy pants. They are something that I'm going to be sleeping in, and so just, you know, I'll just go down to your boxers and then I'll sleep in these and the puffy jacket. And if I do get too hot, then I'll just shed off the jacket and open up the sleeping bag a little bit, and then usually pretty good. I'd rather run a little bit too hot than too cold. So these are going to be a nice thing too, sitting in the snow. We do have little seat pads, but you know, sitting still, especially, you know, anything under 40 degrees, I mean, you're not moving, you're not getting your blood pumping, so you're going to get a little bit more chilly, especially if you're on a ridge top and there's a little bit of a breeze. So these are going to be an essential for me between sleeping and then just staying warm sitting on a ridge top glassing. So that's one thing I do recommend. You know, it's not an essential to everybody, but to me, it's kind of like a creature comfort, especially with the puffy jacket. You know, if anybody's ever had a puffy jacket, they know how amazing they are, especially for lightweight, and they just cram when you're packed into nothing. So that's going to be a good thing. One thing I think we're all taking is, so just your normal backpacking foods. We do recommend the Peaks, and for one reason is right here. I don't know if you can see it, but 49 grams per pack, compared to what a Mountain House would be for like this one, say 13 grams protein per pack. So, and we're gonna split those in two. And when we split those in two, so you'll get 2 meals out of each pack. And so, you know, you're getting a little bit more calories and essentials per pack with the Peaks than you are with, say, a Mountain House. But you know, it's a preference thing. I mean, I really don't have any problems with Mountain Houses, but you know, I mean, sometimes it's just nice to mix it up a little bit, especially if you can get a little bit more energy or something out of something that tastes a little bit better. But one thing I have noticed too is when they absorb water, especially with the Peaks, you don't get like a little bit of a hard chunk in there compared to like a Mountain House that might not absorb the water as much. So that's just that. I do take, say, some like ramen bombs and all that too, but that's just kind of my thing. One thing that does go everywhere with me, I just have it in this right now, but it just gets shoved in the pack, is going to be the sleeping pad. This is the one I ended up buying in Colorado last year, which is the Big Agnes. It's the AirCore Ultra. This one I sleep on my side, so this one's a little bit more insulated, and I think if I remember right, after it's aired up, you have about a 3-inch pad, which I like just because I sleep on my side and I'd rather not be uncomfortable there, and then just, you know, your patches and whatever else. But I usually don't keep it in this, I just shove it in my pack. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend a good pad. It's going to be one of those things where, you know, for the comfort of it, or insulation between keeping the cold off the ground, you might have to try a couple pads depending on your style or how big you are. I'm only 5'10", so that pad's actually a little bit big. I think it's, shoot, I don't remember what exactly the length is on that, but it's definitely wider than what I need and longer than what I need, but it's pretty light, so I like it so far. This here too, I don't keep in the stuff sack, it just kind of gets shoved in my bag, but this one's just a cheaper 0 degree bag by Hike and Bike. I haven't had any problems with it. Last year I did sleep on the pure ground with it, with, you know, no pad or anything in Colorado up at like 10,500 feet, and I slept fine. So this is a mummy bag, which isn't very comfortable to everybody, but especially sleeping in something like this too. But I'd rather be a little too warm than not. So yeah, I mean, if you just have to unzip it, then you just unzip it, and it's not a big deal. One thing here too, on the back side, this one's the Mystery Ranch Marshall. It's their biggest pack. The only downfall I have ever had with this pack is I think a week after we used it, I did break the waist belt buckle, but it's not too hard to get a replacement or even get a whole buckle kit from Mystery Ranch. So other than that, I mean, I haven't had any problems with it. It's not too bad. It's got a lot of bag storage. I think, if I remember right, it's like 6,400 cubic inches. So it is their biggest pack, but it doesn't kind of close up very good for a day pack. I do use it as a day pack, but there's only certain things I take out. So like, you know, like sleeping pad and backpack, or sleeping bag and sleeping pad and stuff for day use. But yeah, so in here I do keep my little seating pad for glassing on the bottom. And then one thing that does go everywhere with me is going to be the Peak Sissy sticks. I don't think AJ's running those now, but I know Kevin and I are. Since we upgraded to these, I absolutely love them. So those go everywhere with me. And another thing that goes everywhere with me is the Kestrel monopod. It does go everywhere with me just because it weighs like 8 ounces, and it's nice just to have with your little your binos, and to sit down and glass, make it a little bit easier. That pops on there, and then you can adjust everything. So that does go everywhere with me just because I'd rather have a little bit more comfort when glassing than not. And even during bow season around here, if you're even in thicker stuff, I don't mind carrying it. Or if you get to a good little glassing knob, it's nice to have it. So that is that. I'm not carrying a spotting scope on this hunt because Kevin's going to have his, and I think one's going to be enough for that. But it's not too big a deal. I'll just zip this up here. Another thing I switched to last year is the swig rig. I kind of got sick of using bladders. I got the swig rig, and on this hunt and every hunt since I've got the swig rig, I carry two bottles, and with the swig rig it pretty much adapts to any of the what do you call them?
Nalgene.
Yeah, any Nalgene size. So I mean, it doesn't matter what Nalgene you have, metal or plastic. So I'll carry two bottles, one full of like say just pure water, and then one bottle of say like a mixed drink between Mountain Ops and stuff. And then I have this zipped or buckled in here so it's nice and tight. And if you have to, you just do your quick disconnect, fill your water bottle up with your Sawyer water filter, and then you're good to go. And it's just right there. It's not in your pack wasting space and hard to get to or hard to fill up. So that's one thing I've definitely liked from the past 2 years. And then some of the essentials that never leave my pack are going to be the stuff in the top lid. And with the Marshall Mystery Ranch, this top lid will all the way undo. And if you have to, if you're putting a stock in, you can just take your essentials and pull it out of here and just throw it on your pack, or throw it on your back, and you're good to go. So all my essentials are going to be in here, between water filtration stuff, fire starters, and all that. So in here we just got an extra bottle of wind checker. Probably actually got 2 in there. Just a standard knife, which this one's just going to be the outdoors replaceable blades. I do run these just because I've had no problems with them, and I've actually done an animal or 2 on one blade before having to replace one, so they are pretty good, especially for the price. The headlamp, I know Kevin and I are running the Peaks outdoors, the Outdoor Duo or whatever. These lamps, I've never ran one dead, and so far they are the brightest that I've noticed. So I definitely recommend these. I like these a lot. One thing that never leaves the pack is going to be your fork and spoon. These are just the JetBoil like breakdown ones. Nothing special. And then these are going to be your these are just backups, but water tablets. I've never used them, but these ones, 1 tablet will do 4 gallons. So I just keep 6 in my pack. But we do use the Sawyer water filters. That never leaves the pack, but extra blades for the knife. Some mosquito spray. Because down here, especially way east, at least on the Washington side, mosquitoes get freaking horrible during bow season, and nothing helps. So, but I guess a couple extra packs of blades, and like I said, probably 2 bottles of wind checker in here. Oh, never mind, 3. But just in case your buddy needs one, I guess. I do have asthma, so I take my spare inhaler, just because there is times between hiking up steep stuff. I mean, just need to take a puff here and there. And only on this trip, I'm going to be having plenty of calls. This one's just a little calf call by Phelps. We'll see how that does on this hunt. I probably won't use it, but it's probably going to stay in my pack just because it'll be good for the bow season for elk. But this one I've used a lot. It's the Fawn Distress Call. I'm not sure who makes this one anymore, but I mean, I've called in everything between coyotes and everything else. So this one's done good year round. I did pick up another Phelps call, which is going to be their Fawn Distress Call. It does sound very similar to this, but it has a little bit better tone, in my opinion, on the Phelps side. So we'll see how that works. And then on this trip, I'm taking the Bear Cub Call. This one does sound very similar. You could probably actually do a Fawn Distress Call on this one too. There's a little bit of a similar tone there, but it is different in the aspect of the tone, I guess. And then this one, Rabbit Call, same thing. I mean, anything in distress is going to be pretty good. I've done a lot of good with this one too, between predators. So, spare batteries in this pouch just because I carry a spare headlamp. This one's just a coast lamp. It is pretty bright, but on the downside, the batteries don't last too long. But it's just going to be a spare. We'll swap some of these out. But so I mean, on this trip, there's going to be some things that don't take on a normal trip for elk, but these things, there are some things that do stay in here just because it's easier to access, and some things that are going to be in here for an essential deal. So like if I have to drop my pack, it's there. This other pouch, tick twisters. Ticks do get pretty bad, and I would rather have something to take it out right than you know, pop a head off in there. So I mean, they weigh nothing. Why not have them? Fire starter stuff. I mean, I got everything in here between lighters, Vaseline soaked cotton balls, pitch, all kinds of stuff. And then, I don't even know why I threw that in there, but an emergency sleeping bag. And then this stuff's just easier to get to, so got a bunch of liquid IVs, just because I'm going to drink those throughout the day. Some blister patches. I've never ran into any problems with those crispy boots, but I think I picked these up in Colorado just because it was like $5. So I'd rather have that. I think there's some other stuff in here that kind of works as a first aid, so that'll be in my pack. Some rope, and then just some extra stuff, little gummies and things. Another set of spare batteries for the spare headlamp. I do like having a battery-operated spare headlamp just because if you can't charge your peaks, then you might as well have a headlamp that can run off batteries, and batteries don't weigh much, so I'd rather just keep that there. But nothing too big, nothing too crazy. I mean, I'm not trying to carry a bunch of stuff I don't need and pack a bunch of weight that's not really necessary. Doesn't matter how deep or how far you're going. I mean, trying to save weight can save your energy. So on this side, I do carry my actual battery packs. And here we got the Dark Energy Poseidon Pro, and then I got a couple extra cheaper battery packs. They don't weigh much, so if I can't charge that one, then I'd rather have a little bit of extra just between my Zoleo. I am running the Zoleo. I think I really just chose this one because the battery life on this one will last like 2 weeks without being charged, and the operating system's pretty much the same, going to be the same between messaging and everything else with the Garmin InReach Mini, but the battery life on this one is going to last a lot longer. It is a little bit more bulky, which kind of sucks, but I don't notice it. I have a little thing over here that keeps it tight to my my shoulder, but yeah, and then some wet wipes because you're gonna chase in the backwoods for sure, and then you know, your toilet paper. I do carry some hand warmers. I really don't use them, but if you really have to, they're there. I just kind of keep that stuff on one side, and then all my water filtration stuff I keep on the other side. Not too organized, but and if you have not used wet wipes, try it. They don't weigh anything, but it's nice if you're chafing or something. On this side, I'm running all my water filtration stuff. Keep a couple dirty bags in here, and then 2 different filters, and then some adapters. You know, it's really nice just having the water bottle now instead of having the bag, the bladder in your pack, just because it's easier to filter everything into it. And so that's just nice and simple. On the inside of the pack, some of the things that never leave this pack, no matter what year it is, what hunt it is going to be just some way to boil water, first aid. I do recommend going through your first aid just to see what's in there, maybe if you're missing something or if you used something one time and forgot to replace something. I do put an extra set of gloves in here and a contractor bag. Just keep it light and simple, especially if one thing that's going to be good too is having gloves for not only maybe say processing an animal, but if your friend gets hurt or whatever, there's a lot of blood, you don't want to contaminate anything or get contaminated, so gloves are going to be a multi-use thing. this is an old food pack. I always keep one in there. I just kind of go through it every once in a while, and then just kind of check on everything. I do keep 1 day's worth of food in there no matter what, just because you never know what's going to happen, and if you have to stay the night, you have food. So I mean, I'll have 1 pack in there no matter what, and then I'll probably take my other 4 days if we're going to go out for 5. But no matter what on the day pack, I'll take extra food, and then this is just my emergency. The game bags never leave my pack. These ones are the Born and Outraised. I have not tried these yet, but I do like the aspect of them, of the zipper. And so if you're by yourself, you can just lay this out and put your quarter down and zip it up instead of trying to get your meat dirty and trying to shove it in a little hole. But they weigh nothing, and they never leave the pack no matter what, so those are always going to be in there. Like I said, I really don't take a lot of essential stuff, or like things that I really don't need to take. I try to keep my pack light. I don't take a lot of small little things. Don't really need much except for food, shelter, and just the essentials to hunt between classing and whatever weapon I'm taking. So just try to keep it light and simple. But yeah, I mean, it's all I really take, no matter what season it is. But that's just what we're gonna take for this trip in general. So, all right, thanks, guys.